Hi everyone. I came across something the other day that I thought was worth sharing, and that is hexagonal thinking to inspire critical thinking and discussion. And this is from Spark Creativity, and Jennifer Gonzalez touched on it in one of her Cult of Pedagogy blogs. And the thing that caught my eye were these cards in hexagon shapes, and I just loved the way students could be given some terms and asked to place them together how they think they should go. And so they could even pick maybe what goes in the middle and then what branches out from there and what two ideas go together, and maybe even the order of importance if you want to think about important things on top. So as I look at this in a pre-COVID world, this could be a great class activity where you could be walking around looking at how students were organizing the cards and having I guess a Q&A with them on why they didn't put draft by draft dodging and some other interesting issues. Students could even take a picture and upload this to Schoology, and you could project it on the screen. And I assume that probably no two groups will come up with the exact same organization for how they place these cards, but I do believe it will increase critical thinking and just be a great way to dive into your class content. So now that we know that touching cards all day may not be what you want to do and you want a digital version, there is a way to do this digitally. And then I created another way that I wanted to show you. So the lady that originally invented this, or that has been given credit for it first, she has it where students can click on a text box and then drag the text box over to the hexagon, and then they could just take their next one and they could decide where they want to put it and so on until you do them all. And then when you're finished, it could look something like this. So if they do this on a Google slide, then this is something that could be projected and other groups could compare their organization with this group's and bring up some interesting discussion points. You could also have students type up why they connected certain concepts to other concepts, and you could have them pick maybe at least 5 connections that they made. Obviously, they could just get up in front of the class and present. That would work as well. But what I liked was the idea of actually moving these as cards. So if you have an event that you want to talk about, or a couple of events, students could choose what they want to sort of put in the center, and then they could think about where do these other cards go. So I'm just going to kind of move them around, and I know they're not going to exactly line up, unless I spend a lot of time doing that. So for those of you with a touch of OCD, I know you're going to want me to fix these, but we don't want a 15-minute video, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And so you can actually make a copy of this slideshow. Just go up to File and then say Make a Copy. And once you do that, then you can manipulate this any way you want. You can get rid of this background and change it. You can change these colors. But I do want to show you one. Let's have us as teachers think about one. So let's say that I put these cards out on a table in front of you and some of your department members. How would you start thinking about shaping them and organizing them? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move some of these around just to give myself a little room. And by the way, I didn't know this until this summer. You can move these off of the slide if you need to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put education sort of in the middle, and then I am thinking about you pretty much need teachers. And watch this when I move this one, because I want to move students over by teachers, and this is going to be just a tech thing here. You'll notice just the hexagon moved, and so I discovered a way to keep the text box on the shape, and that is by just selecting those 2 shapes. You don't want a bunch of other shapes. Let me move this down a little bit. Sorry about that. You don't want any other shapes involved. So I'm just going to select this one and then I'm going to go up to arrange, and I'm going to say to group these. Now this should all move as one unit. So I'm going to put this one right up there, and then I know I'm going to need, I'd like to see content next, and then planning here, assessment here. Nope, I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm going to move instruction down here. So, you know, you could get these right next to each other and make them all sort of snap together, and that'll make it look better. Hang on just a second. So again, this is a great way to walk around and as students are working, sort of start to see their thinking and question them, listen to groups discussing how these might be placed. Would you have placed yours the exact same way? So if I gave you these cards, would you have put education in the center? And if not, why not? And what would you put in the center and why? And that could be a fun conversation for us. So I am going to give you as a link, I'm going to give you the lady who created this whole digital thinking toolkit. You'll get everything. You'll get some of her blank ones. And I do want to show you a couple more. She also has arrows, so you can talk about maybe the first connection that a group wants to bring up and in their discussion, and then a second connection. So you can also give them arrows. And so you can see that here. You can give them some of these shapes to manipulate, even the numbers right here. And as I scroll down here, she'll kind of walk you through some other ideas. And then I'm going to give you the link to where I read about this from Cult of Pedagogy, who got it from Betsy Potash, I believe. And as I scroll, I know when I watch videos, I don't want things to scroll too quickly, but I do want to get down. Just bear with me here. So I showed you that picture already, and that one. Close your eyes if you need to. Okay, open them. So here's some science terms, and I'm sure this would work in social studies. Now, as far as math goes, I'm not exactly sure what I would do in math, but I'm sure you math teachers, if you want to talk about shapes, you could come up with some terms, and those would be pretty interesting. And then here's also a quick video that she provides. I made you something else if you do want to actually have cards. Maybe you just want individuals to do this. And so you could print this. I changed this slide to 8.5 by 11, so it should print for you. And I made these myself because a lot of things online you have to sign up for or you have to pay for. So you'll notice it's not exactly straight with the world, but it should get you going, especially if students are going to cut those out. So what I'd like to do, if you've made it this far in the video and you're interested, I'm going to show you really quickly how I started mine from scratch. So I went up to this icon right here for shape, and I went over and I picked the hexagon. But while we're here, notice there's plenty of other shapes. If you think something else would work better, maybe you just want a square, maybe you want a circle, it's fine. I'm going to pick this one, and I'm going to draw it out until I think I've got a good enough size. And you saw earlier how my text box didn't move with the word students. If I want, I can go ahead and set the text box in here originally and arrange and group those. The problem is if you try to color the hexagon, the text box will be the same color. If you want the text box to be white, then you'll have to do these separately. But I'm going to go ahead now, and I'm going to, oh, I know what I'm going to do. Forgive me. I'm going to go to this, and I am going to make it, even though I put white here, watch what happens when I'm going to try to grab, I don't want the word tutorial to be in there. Hang on. Okay. We're getting closer. It's going to happen, I promise. Okay. So I'm going to stretch this out a little bit. I'm trying to get just one right, and then I can copy paste it. So I'm going to grab both of those items. I'm going to go to, give me a minute. Finally, okay, so I grabbed just the two. I'm going to arrange, and I'm going to group. So now this should just be one hexagon that moves, and the text box stays with it. So I am going to now do right click, copy, and then I actually prefer Control V to get some more. I think that's just easier. And then, so if you are making cards for students, then they can arrange them. You could even have them put in the terms if you think they're ready for that. So the issue now that I was going to show you is if you want to color that hexagon, it's going to do the text box as well. So if I go up into the fill color and I pick a color, then, and you'll see my text box is now hidden. Earlier, I went to the text box and I tried to give it a border weight to make it stand out. And I'm going to try to fill it white. Okay, so let's move this time and see if they all move. Okay, so that did the trick. So for the different hexagons, you can go in, click this, go to your fill color, start picking different colors. And again, because I didn't copy this original template, you would have to go in, find that text box. You can change the border weight and change the fill color to white. So that would be a step. Try to do what I say, or wait, what is it? Do as I say, not as I do. I can't remember. Just remember to do all that stuff first if you don't want to do it for each one. Now, as far as the background goes, just I'm clicking just randomly in the slide. I'm going to go to slide and pick change background. You can have a solid color. Maybe you just want, for whatever reason, you just want it to be sort of, wow, really bright like that. You can also change the background by doing an image. And if you go to Google image search, one thing I like to do is to type in the word wallpaper. So earlier I typed meadow wallpaper. And generally, when I use the word wallpaper, I like what I get versus just meadow. And so if I select that and give it a moment, it should appear. It really should appear. Okay, it just took a second. And so if you are studying in world history, let's say Asian culture or Asian history, you know, obviously you would want to pick a picture to go with that. So I have given you down here also a link to the digital hexagonal thinking toolkit and the original article. So if you do plan to do this, I would love to be there when you do it, if you would let me know. Or if you want to discuss it beforehand, or if you would like to show me the results, I'd be very intrigued to see how it turns out. If you have any questions about this or anything else, please let me know.